Hello, hello. I'm Frolic. Can you hear me? Good, great. I'm one of the core developers of MUD. We're going to attempt to build an on-chain game in 20 minutes. It's kind of a lot to ask. We'll see if it's actually a game by then. But so this is meant to demonstrate some of the stuff we've been working on. Didn't quite have enough time to make this a full-on template that you can use, but yeah, we've got a template project that we'll clone from. And just to save a bit of time, I've already cloned it into my personal GitHub account and also cloned it here. So let me adjust sizing here real quick. How's that look?
Looks great.
Thank you. Okay, so let's start this MUD project. This MUD projects generally come out of the box with a bunch of services. So when you run the dev script, actually, let me quit out of this and run the local one. When you start the dev script, you get a front-end server. That's your client. You get contracts. You can see it's currently evaluating all of our contracts and deploying them to our local chain. We have our local chain and then the Explorer, which you may have seen already. But we'll take a look at that in a second. So in our browser, we now have a application. And if you've played with MUD before at all, you might recognize this. We have a to-do list app as kind of our default application. I don't know why you would put a to-do list app on chain, but it's a good demonstration of the kind of full stack and really easy to understand. So in this demo, we've already got our onboarding flow wired up. So I'll sign in here, create an account with a passkey. And then right now, behind the scenes, it gave us a gas allowance, and then it's setting up a session account. The session account under the hood is basically a local signer that signs all of our transactions, so we don't have to confirm every time with a wallet pop-up. So we're approving the session account, and now we're good to go. So we've started our new project, can tick that box. Great job. And we will next open Explorer to kind of show you the local flow there. This is both able to run locally and once we deploy, we'll show it there as well. But you can pop this open a new tab when you're running locally, but I've embedded it here just so we can see it a bit easier. So we can already see our task table. We've already got the first task completed, marked as completed. And if I connect, I can actually start editing code. So if I want to change this back to 0, I can. You can see it unticked. And then if I check this again, we can see the Explorer update automatically. And similarly, if we want to interact and call the complete task function, we can do that here. It's the first task. Oh, actually, it's completed, so let's reset. Reset task. And it reset it, and then we can complete it. Just calling these functions through the Explorer, and it completed it. And then as we check and uncheck, we also get a live view of all of our transactions flowing through our world here, which we can then inspect and see all the MUD logs being emitted, including the user operation. So every one of these transactions is a user operation, 457 user operation. So everything is wrapped automatically for you, sent to Wiresaw, confirmed very rapidly. And yeah, it makes our web app super responsive. So let's try, oh, yeah, we did the Explorer, great. Let's try to build, sorry. I'm not used to these full screen things, so just a second. There we go. Okay, get this running locally again, get the code editor open, great. Okay, so everything in a MUD project starts from your MUD config. This is where you define your tables and your schemas, your data model. We use a very familiar approach like you would with a database. You have a list of fields in your schema, and then you define basically a primary key, which can be one or more fields. So in here, we've already got a task table for our to-do list app. Next, for our game, we're going to add a position table. So every player has a position on the map, and they can move around. So we'll do that here. Schema. So the first thing we want is a player. This will be one position per player. and then we'll have an X and Y coordinate. And then our TypeScript is telling us, everything in MUD is strongly typed, so TypeScript is telling us we're missing a key, so we'll add that next. And also we can see autocomplete kind of reminding us what our fields are in case you've forgotten. And behind the scenes, as I'm typing this and saving, MUD is actually rebuilding the project. So if we look at our dev contract script again, it recognized that there was a file change in the config. It reran the dev runner. I think it actually already found our position table up here. Let me see if I can find it. Oh. Yeah, so up here when we saved for the first time, we had the existing tasks table, and then it recognized that we need to register a new table. So it's idempident. I don't know how to say that word. And every time you make an update to your MUD config, it automatically figures out what it needs to deploy, whether it's a table or a system, and runs it for you. And then we can also see in the Explorer, if we open that up, we have our position table already, but there's no data in here yet, so we'll do that next. Okay. Not sure why. Oh, because I restarted the server, so everything redeployed, so just a second. So we got the Explorer going with a new project, added the position table, but we haven't been able to do anything with the position table yet, so let's add a system so we can move our player. So we will, let's see, in our contracts, add a move system. And I have some code, sorry. I have some code here. Let's copy this. Oh, sorry, hang on. Okay, so I've copied over our task system, but this is going to be a move system. So we're going to import our position table, call this move system, and we'll paste in our code, function, move, direction. And I'm realizing actually I forgot to define our direction. So another thing in MUD is being able to specify enums. So I'm going to do that now. Direction, north, east, south, west. Great. And so then we'll import direction from codegen common. And again, behind the scenes, MUD is already generating code for us, strongly typed Solidity code, so we don't have to worry about that. This is a public function. Okay, so we have our move system hooked up. Let's see in the Explorer if we've got that in here now. So we're going to go interact, app, let's see, move. No, something's. Oh no, demo gods. So restarting one more time just to see if this helps. We've just redeployed to Anvil again with a fresh state. So take all of these, see if the move system's in here. No, what's going on? Move system. Okay, so I think it's in here. We'll just keep going. So after our move system's all wired up, we need to render our players and our game map so that you can move around on the map. So I'm going to open up our app here. I'm going to import our game map component. It's not going to do anything yet, so we've got a blank map for now. But we'll start by getting our players. We have a new state library in MUD called Stash with a bunch of React hooks. This one in particular is called use records, so it will give us a list of records. These are automatically synced for you from the chain, so all the data that we need is already available. So we're going to use our stash. We're going to tell it we need a table, and for that, we can import from the MUD config. From MUD config. And then just to save some time, I'm going to remap this. MUD.namespaces app.tables, okay? And then tables.position is what we want. So we have all of our players, and we're going to pass that into, oh, we got to import this too. Okay. So these aren't doing anything yet. Actually, let's see if we can open up the Explorer and give something a position. Oh. I think because we don't have our move system available, I can't actually set the position very easily yet. So we'll just move on to the actual game controls, which will allow for keyboard movement and tap movement, which you'll be able to play with on your phone in just a second. So for that, I'm going to import the world contract. If you've used VM, it's essentially a strongly typed world or a contract object that represents our world. So we will import that using this hook, which again will be available from MUD soon. And then on here, we want onMove, async. And then I'm just going to check the world contract because it needs to load some data, so it's not available right away. So we're just going to throw it if it's not ready yet. Not ready. And then we're going to get a transaction back from this, so we're going to await. World contract, right, dot app move. Okay, so we can see our move system calls here. So we're going to call move. VM, when you're calling a contract, takes in a list of arguments, so that we want, in our move system, we have one argument, which is the direction. And actually, the first argument in this on move callback is a direction. You can see northeast, southwest. So if we try to pass that in here, it's actually not going to work because this is expecting an enum. Fortunately, that's available on our config as well. Actually, we'll just use it directly here. So MUD config .enum values .direction. So again, all the strong typing is helping me here. It auto-completed this direction enum that we added, and I passed in our direction string, which then mapped it to the actual enum value, which we want for our contracts. And then we'll just log move transaction is this. So we should be able to move around. Yay. We built a game. Okay. So today, MUD templates, you can do this, but then there's not a ton of guidance for like how you get to the chain. So another big improvement, aside from onboarding, is actually like getting you on chain and making it a real app. So next step we'll deploy. So pray to demo gods. Going to deploy to Rhodolite, which is where we have all this new tech running.
Can you show what this script does? Deploy Rhodolite?
Yes. Let's see, deploy Rhodolite. It grabs a bunch of stuff from our .env file, and right now that's pretty basic. It specifies a chain ID and RPC URL. And then calls out to this mprox file, which we don't actually need. We had some more stuff running here, but I'll just show you that's one thing, and all it's calling is MUD deploy with an RPC URL. That's basically it. Internally on my system, I also have a environment variable set for my private key that acts as my deployer. We are also working on allowing you to deploy with user operations in the same sort of onboarding flow or the same rails. So basically, you won't need to bridge any funds or whatever. You can just use the daily gas allowance to deploy contracts. So we've got a deployment here. We can now go look at the real life World Explorer. Let's see, Explorer. .mud.dev. Enter in, oh geez. Enter in our contract address, explore the world. So we
I think it's
see-
set to Garnet.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yep, there we go. So we got our task list up and running, and we also have the position table. And in here, we should see our move function. Move, yep, great. And we can move north. Oh, sorry, hang on. Oh, I'm not going to connect here, but we'll show you in the live app. Okay, so we've got our Rotolite deploy. Now we're going to actually upload a front end here. So we're going to build for Rotolite. This basically just binds the chain ID into the client application. And then we'll just do a quick drag and drop into Netlify. They have like this drag and drop static file uploader. Doesn't require any sign up. You can use it a couple of times for free. I've actually already signed up and set up a workshop domain, so I'll drop it in here. Let's see, open. So I want the dist file going here. Uploading. I don't know how slow the Wi-Fi is right now. And in the meantime, if you want to open this up in your phones, workshop.mud.dev, it should show you the same thing. You can test out this new onboarding flow, create a passkey, sign in, get some free gas, and then start moving around on the map. You can also check off items if you want to check off items. Let's see our deploy. Okay, published, great. So we'll go through that sign-in process again. Since we're on a new domain, it's asking for the passkey again. Setting up the session wallet, or the session account. And now we're in. Oh, I see a bunch of people already playing, that's great. Refresh real quick. Great, there we go. Do you have time for questions?
It's question time. Can AV switch to question screen? So just like before, scan the QR code, ask questions. Okay, so while better questions are being asked, or not better questions, but at least votes are being casted, we'll start from the top. Frolic, are the tables relational?
Yes and no. From the on-chain perspective, we're still using native Solidity, essentially mapping, so you can think about it more as a key value store. But the data is modeled in such a way that allows us to then index the data in a relational way so that you can query the data. We have a query API that isn't demonstrated here, but the indexers that are running on our chains is a hosted indexer that supports a full SQL API. So you can run relational queries as you'd expect there and get your data, thanks to Ryan from IndexSupply.
The next question here is, what is stash in use records?
Yeah, so I kind of breezed through that a little too quickly, but Stash is our new client store. If you've used MUD before, it's going to replace RECS and ZooStand. But it's a high-performance client store that kind of fuses the functionality of both, so you get all the benefits of each under one library.
Okay, so we'll skip the trolling questions. What is Rotolite, Frolic?
That's a question for you. Rotolite is our chain running, our DevNet chain running all of this new query infrastructure. Available now, but just to caveat that it's likely to be reset, restarted, go down as we play with things and stress test.
Yeah, so while Redstone, of course, is in a production environment, Garnet is our testnet that is also in a production environment, and Rotolite is a DevNet that is not in a production environment. So it will break, it will be restarted, but that's where the bleeding edge of the stuff we're working on can be found in. I don't think we have any more questions left.
There's more, but we need to
Can we scroll the questions? Because the top question is bugs, and also you guys are not ticking off the questions we've answered, so we need to remove them.
Oh, there we go.
Oh my God, all right. First, okay, can you use MUD as a library and build a meta framework over it, like React and Next?
I'm not, MUD, so we build a lot of, in addition to the Solidity side, we build a lot of JavaScript tooling. So it kind of is already doing this. It's sort of a framework over the top of JavaScript, and we internally we use React a lot, so we build a lot of React tooling on top of it as well. But you can use it on basically any framework, and I'm sure you could build a meta framework over top of it if you wanted to as well. I'd be curious to know what your use case is, so yeah.
The CCP Games team built kind of a meta framework on top of MUD.
Yeah, that's true. Like their smart object framework, and yeah. Will we hear about that later today?
We will hear indeed about this later today, so please stick around. Okay, here's a new one. What are some of the primary reasons for us to switch to on-chain game development, Frolic?
I personally love building on-chain because I don't like running backends. So it means that I can write some code, put it on the internet, and it will run on the world computer forever as long as people are willing to pay to play within the game. So that's my reason. I'm sure there's many more.
And registering securities.
Yeah.
These are the two reasons. I'm joking. Okay, I think we're done. Thank you, Frolic.
Thank you.
So.